Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, I'll be featuring the case of Robert Blake. This was a suggestion by friend of the show, Richard Sapitsky. So thank you, Richard, for the recommendation. So, as people trickle in, let's go ahead and say hi. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this case. I knew the basics about it, but I didn't know a lot about the actor Robert Blake, to be completely honest. He's just like a different generation than from when I grew up. So it was very interesting to learn his background and kind of what led up to the crime that we're going to be discussing. So let's see. So William Eddy posted this a while ago. So I'm just seeing this now. So my email is thedannyafterdark@gmail.com. So thedannyafterdark@gmail.com. Linda, shows now. But you said that earlier, just seen it now, hon. Jimmy Hook, hello. So interesting. So Robert Blake is such a unique case because we have a sympathetic perpetrator and a victim who was, well, kind of a piece of shit. Well, that's one opinion, but as the case goes on, as I discuss it, we'll see if, for those who aren't familiar with the case, whether they agree with that or not. I have my own thoughts on Robert Blake, but we'll definitely get through the case first. Hey, James Watson, Mr. Jenks. Yeah, you liked him in Little Rascals. So I didn't grow up watching Little Rascals, but like I knew of the show. So me learning about Robert Blake, just being the generation I am, he was already a much older, accomplished actor by that time and was no longer a child star. So, or a child actor, I should say. Grew up watching him on Beretta. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Kane. Welcome, Scotty, Robert. Let's see. Oh, so in Cold Blood, he was good. He was a very, very good actor. I have not seen that. Hey, Tony L. Welcome. Hey, Fiddle, my good friend Fiddleford. You might be seeing Fiddle again soon. There are some, dare I say, possible collabs in the works. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? Fiddle just begs and begs and begs me to come back, wants to come back to Danny After Dark. So I must oblige. Throw him a bone every once in a while, you know. Hey, Mick, welcome. And of course, the better Paul and big kiss to the cats. I know. I think I've decided the best route to do the format of my shows now are, the serious case, keep them out so that they don't get into too much trouble and knock everything over. And then during my true crime and chills, just let the cats in because, yeah, that's what you guys want to see anyway. So that's totally fine. So, okay, Robert, In Cold Blood is a must watch. Okay, if you say so, then I will add. It's kind of sort of a holiday weekend for here in the States. 4th of July weekend is here, even though 4th of July falls on a Tuesday. A lot of people are taking Monday off work, so it's kind of a long weekend. So I will put that on the agenda of things to watch because you guys are saying it's good. So mine is. Look at Linda coming in hot. This guy is totally guilty. Well, I'm covering the case, so we kind of know where it goes. But again, there might be people here who aren't familiar with the case. So we'll see where it takes us. All right, so let's go ahead and find out more. Let's go ahead and dive on into the case of Robert Blake. So Robert Blake was born Michael James Vincenzo, and I'm going to totally butcher this last name as expected, Gubitosi, in Nutley, New Jersey on September 18th, 1933. His parents were Giacomo and Elizabeth. He had a brother, James, and a sister, Giovanna. In 1938, the family moved to Los Angeles, California, where the children began working as movie extras. Michael's acting career began when he appeared as Toto in the MGM movie Bridal Suite in 1939. He then began appearing in MGM's Our Gang, replacing Eugene Porky Lee. He appeared in 40 of the shorts between 1939 and 1944, eventually becoming the series' final lead character. His siblings, James and Giovanni, also made appearances in the series as extras. In 1942, Michael acquired the stage name Bobby Blake, and his character in the series was renamed Mickey Blake. 1944. MGM discontinued Our Gang, releasing the final short in the series on April 29th. Also in 1944, Bobby began playing Little Beaver in the Red Ryder Western at Republican, no, sorry, not Republican. I read that right the first time. Republic Pictures. He ended up appearing in 23 of the movies until 1947. He also had roles in The Big Noise, Humoresque, and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. With all this success, however, Bobby, he had a toxic home life. His father was an alcoholic, would become physically abusive. His school life, it wasn't really much better. The other children were hostile to him, which led to fights and ultimately getting expelled. At the age of 14, Bobby ran away from home. In 1950, Bobby entered into the Army. After he returned to California, he enrolled in acting classes. This is what Bobby needed. He matured and became a seasoned Hollywood actor. 1956, Bobby was billed as Robert Blake for the first time. Robert performed in numerous theatrical motion pictures as an adult, including his starring role in The Purple Gang, and featured roles in movies such as Ensign Pulver and The Greatest Story Ever Told, just to name a few. 1962, Robert married actress Sandra Kerr. Together, they had 2 children. Noah Blake, born in 1965, and I'm going to totally butcher this, Delina Blake, born in 1966. And here we go, you guys, what you've been referencing since the show started. 1967, Robert starred in his acclaimed role of real-life murderer Perry Smith in Cold Blood. Robert, he won an Emmy Award for his role of Tony Beretta in the popular TV series Beretta, where he played an undercover police detective who specialized in disguises. So we'll do a quick pause there because those were the things that you guys came in right away naming. So In Cold Blood and Beretta. I, again, have not seen either, but In Cold Blood will be on the agenda to try to do for this weekend. So as I'm going through this, if there's anything that he's been in that you guys recognize and you want to comment on the role, by all means, please do. Was it, how was he in the role? What did you think? Because we're going to be taking a little bit of a turn soon, not only with his career, but his love life. So we're all up to speed here. So let's see what you guys are saying. In Cold Blood was the biggest selling true crime book until some other book took its place. James, could you be just a little bit more specific? Until another book took its place. Okay. Hey, David, definitely, let's see, In Cold Blood and read the book. All right, here you guys with the book recommendations. It's like you know me or something. It's like I'm right away going to add it to my Amazon cart. Oh, Chris James, welcome. I didn't see you come in, hon. Good to see you. Kane, now that I think of it, In Cold Blood was one of the best movies ever made. Well, geez, y'all. It's going to be pushing it up on the list of things to do this weekend. I'm glad to see you and all the Danny After Darkers. Oh, Linda, hon, thank you. That's so sweet. Let's see. Computer's messing up? No way, especially not on YouTube. Hey, Mimi, good to see you. Let's see. Jinx says, one of Robert's wives played a role in the TV movie Helter Skelter. Are you serious? Oh, God. You know what? Like, as big as Hollywood is, it's extremely small as well. That's what I'm coming to realize just looking at some of the Hollywood cases that I've covered, but more so, obviously, over on the Manson Saga discussion panel. It's just such a small connected world. It's wild that way. Danny, book and film are essential of In Cold Blood. All right. So, okay, I'm going to pose this question and then we'll definitely continue on at the case. But what do you guys who have read the book, seen the movie, maybe some of you have only done one or the other, but for those of you that have read and seen the movie, so read the book, seen the movie, what do you prefer? And I only say that because I tend to find I prefer the books over movies when there are books that are made for movie. I don't know. There's something about it. It seems that, and I understand that movies are trying to condense a large book. And so they got to kind of pick and choose what storylines that they remove. But I tend to always read the book first before I watch the movie. That's kind of typically my MO. And then I find when I watch the movies, I'm very typically disappointed. I don't know, but that's just me. But what do you guys think about this one specifically? Because if y'all are saying I need to get the book, then I'm not going to want to watch the movie until I read the book, because that's just how I roll. So yeah, Jinx says do both. Okay. Linda says movies are good if you're lazy. LOL. No, not necessarily, because again, it's sometimes you leave with a totally different experience than reading the book. So that's why I ask, but good point as well. Let's see. Linda, books are better. I completely agree. Robert, they are both great, but the movie is like you're there with them. Okay, no, that's fair. Chris says Truman when he wrote the book, and I think the screenplay as well. Okay. All right, you guys. Okay. Well, I wasn't going into this episode expecting to be updating my Amazon cart and then adding a movie to watch this weekend, but nonetheless, you guys are awesome that way. So, all right. So where we left off. So Robert his career was absolutely excelling. But things on the home front, not so much. 1983, Robert and Sandra divorced. Robert's professional career, however, it did still continue to shine throughout the 80s and 90s, both in movie and in television roles. In 1993, he won another Emmy Award for portraying John List in the murder drama Judgment Day, the John List story. I have not seen that. I'm not going to lie. I did cover the John List case back on an older episode of Danny After Dark, so check that out if you missed it. And when I was doing the research, it did give some reviews on that movie. And it did say, from what I did the research on, that it was really, really well portrayed. So, but I didn't watch it. I didn't think it was kind of relevant to the research that I was doing for the case. But now that I'm kind of seeing this, I'm like, you know what? I think I'll probably have to add that to the list too. But if you guys watch that, please let me know. Please let me know if that's a must watch or if it's one of those skip it, because y'all know if the movie is different than the case, can't do it. Hey, Troy. So he won an Emmy Award for portraying John List. It was a murder drama called Judgment Day, the John List story. Again, I've not personally seen it. So let's see. I've always preferred the book, but in the case of Cold Blood, I think the movie was just as good. Okay, thank you. And good to know. All right. Let's see. His wife played Ronnie Howard in the Helter Skelter movie, and now we are here. 6 degrees. Hey, William Eddy. I answered your question earlier. You left it before the show. So my show email address is thedannyafterdark@gmail.com. So hope that helps. Okay, so, and this is where we're getting to the part of the story that y'all are wanting. So in 1999, Robert met Bonnie Lee Bakley. I might just butcher that last name. I knew that was going to happen. Bonnie Lee Bakley. And they started dating. However, at the same time, she was dating Christian Brando, who is the son of Marlon Brando. When Bonnie became pregnant, she told both Robert and Christian that they were the father. Robert ordered Bonnie to take a DNA test to prove the paternity. The DNA test showed he was the father. So the child was named Rose. Robert and Bonnie then got married. This was his second marriage and her 10th marriage. Yes, her 10th marriage. You know, we're not judging here, but I was not aware of that when doing the research. I was like, wait, what? Is that right? Am I on a fake article right now? No, 10th marriage. 10th marriage. While married, Bonnie lived in a small guest house behind Robert's house in the Studio City area of the San Fernando Valley. May 4th, 2001. On this night, Robert took Bonnie out for dinner at an Italian restaurant, Vitello's, in Studio City. After dinner, Bonnie was sitting in the car, which was parked on a side street around the corner of the restaurant, when out of nowhere, she was murdered by a gunshot to the head. Robert was not in the car at this time. As he would tell police, he had quickly gone back into the restaurant to get a gun that he just left at the table. I don't know. To me, that's not one of the things I bring to when I go out to eat, but to each their own. He was inside the restaurant when the shooting occurred. However, when police interviewed employees of the restaurant and people who were eating there that night, no one recalled Robert going back into the restaurant. April 18th, 2002. Robert was arrested and charged in connection with the murder of his wife, Bonnie. Earl Caldwell, Robert's bodyguard, was also arrested and charged with conspiracy in connection with the murder. Police had a retired stuntman, Ronald, aka Duffy, Hambleton, tell them that Robert had tried to hire him to kill Bonnie. Another retired stuntman, an acquaintance of Ronald named Gary McClarty, came forward to police with a similar story. Robert Hambleton agreed to testify against Robert Blake only after he was told he would be the subject to a grand jury subpoena and a pending misdemeanor charge. So before we get into what Robert was charged with, let's see what you guys have to say about the case. And some of you are already just making your claims innocent, guilty. Yeah, a lot of you guys know how this goes, but some of you guys already have difference of opinions on this, and I find that fascinating. Russell coming in hot. Robert Blake was totally innocent. You, sir, I don't always believe what you type. Okay, wow, didn't know that about his wife. Interesting, right? Right, absolutely. Hi, Alexander, welcome. Let's see, Danny, there was a TV movie remake, In Cold Blood, with Eric Roberts and that other guy. It was pretty cool. I feel like I've seen that. I feel like I've seen that. I don't know offhand, though. Kane is already saying, I think he hired someone to shoot her. Okay. Christian Brando has an interesting murder story. He killed his sister, husband, or boyfriend. Oh, okay. I did not know that. Hey, Shannon. Worse than Elizabeth Taylor. 10th marriage. That breaks Elizabeth Taylor's record. Right? Right? Yeah. Oh, man. I know people that have been, it's not uncommon now, I think, just because just the times we live in, divorce is a lot more common than it was back then, right? So, people that are on their second marriage or maybe sometimes third. I don't think I've ever met someone married in person, like met them personally in real life, married past 3 times. I don't think so. And even that, I'm like, who was it but I know I've met people married at least twice. 10? Man, no, I take that back. I had a coworker. He was married. He had 5 ex-wives. And I was like, wow. And he was, yeah, I think he was looking for love again. And I was just like, wow. But yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, he's the only one that, up that 5. And I thought that was a lot, oh God, 10 blows my mind. We're not judging, but damn. Robert, I think Blake was guilty, but I think she had it coming. Sorry. No, do not apologize for your opinion. That's the thing with these cases. You guys are definitely entitled to your opinion of them. And yeah, that's totally fine. And we're all not going to agree on that. And that's all right. Jimmy Hook. Hey, Jimmy. Bonnie was bad news. That's definitely a very popular opinion. It's very much a popular opinion with this case. I never thought he was guilty. Interesting. I'm still processing the loss of MSTP. Oh, Shannon. Oh, man. So for those who don't know what she's referring to, So, as you guys know, co-host over on the Paulcast Manson Saga discussion panel. So we did our last show this past Monday night. So if you guys are kind of newer to that channel, by all means, definitely catch up. But we did do our last show. Or if you haven't watched it and you're just strictly a Danny After Dark subscriber, which love you for, definitely go over and check that out too. Because again, true crime related, but that's just more so only the Manson case. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely go check it out. There's about 3 years worth of episodes. So yeah, there's a lot. So check that out if you're interested. Let's see. Beretta would never commit a crime. That's awesome. The real MSDP was all the friends we made along the way. Russell, don't make me cry. Oh, man. I mean, I know I made a lot of friends. I didn't think you made any, though. But, you know, if you think you did, hon, more power to you. More power to you. Bonnie was a hot mess. That's a little bit of an understatement. One thing I will have to say, so where she was telling Christian and Robert that they were both the father, I was like, oh, man, why you got to do that? Not right. In my opinion, smart of Ronald to order a paternity test. And it did show he was the father. There was a little bit, not as much research as I would have liked about why she lived in like the back house of Robert's. You'd think if they were, married and together, they didn't even reside in the same house. So weird, very, very weird. And I know couples, there's no kind of normal way to, for a couple to run their relationship, especially nowadays, compared to what, 20, 30 years ago. Times have just changed, and the new normal is, to me, there is no normal, but I just found that very, very different than what I would have expected. Even nowadays, if I met somebody and, they were married and, oh yeah, I live in the back house or, the guest house, I'd be like, wait, what? But yeah, I didn't really understand that. So not sure if you guys were, kind of a little bit more in the know about that. Russell, yeah, she wasn't all the time. Well, yeah, we're not judging her by looks based on if she's innocent or not, but who am I to judge? Being married once was enough for me to realize marriage is not for me. That is very well said, and actually extremely self-reflective. And what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. Very, oh man, what's the word? I can't think of it, but very self-aware. And that's not a bad, I have more respect when I hear something like that. You know what I mean? Then, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. And then marriage after marriage after, it's like, 10 marriages along the way. It's one of those, maybe take a step back. Is it all of them, or is there something within yourself? Just my opinion on that. Russell, oh God, James, I'm not reading your comment. God, we're not doing that. I think it's fair to say she was not a good person, but I don't think she deserved to die. And that's the crux of a lot of true crime cases, right? Where there's sometimes how do I word this? Sometimes we hear in the news about a victim, and again, no murder is ever justified. It's never okay, but they could have been the worst of the worst, but that does not mean they deserve to die. So I think that's very well said, Linda. If he divorced her, he would have to pay a big settlement. Absolutely. Just making sure I get caught up, and then we'll get more into him being charged with the crime. Troy, I think she blew her brains out while simultaneously throwing weapon into the dumpster like a skyhook. All right, yeah. I started to follow you, and then I'm like, all right, not really. Yeah, I know. Wild. Maybe Phil Spector shot her. You know what? That would not be, if the case took that twist, it would not surprise me. After covering the Phil Spector case, if you guys missed that, again, go back. I did it on Dating After Dark. I remember his trial. I remember watching his trial on TV and thinking, what, this man is nuts. He's just nuts. Because as much as how you look shouldn't impact a jury, it does. It does. They want you to, it's just the way it is. Society judges that type of thing. In the way he physically presented himself, not just looks wise, but his demeanor in court, it was just, I'm like, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's fighting for his life. What is he doing? But then to go back and read up all like his career before and how he was, it was just, he was a hot mess. And that's very much an understatement. Phil Spector, yeah. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys, we bonded as outcasts of the pandemic. Oh my, you know what? The pandemic. Oh, yeah, definitely. YouTube definitely helped with a lot of that. Oh, Fiddle chimes in. I was only there for the weirdos in the chat. Oh, Fiddle. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you were there for Beckham and Paul that way. I'm really glad. I'm really glad. I hope Paul stays out of the closet. What? I totally am behind. Let's see. Oh, I just making sure you guys are caught up. Hi, Renee. Welcome. Okay. Why bother getting married after the third or fourth one? Yeah, I think I'm just because I'm very psychology oriented. I think more so very in, always trying to understand the mind. And I think especially in the case of something like that, again, not judging Bonnie specifically, but, after, not all marriages work. It just is what it is. There's so many reasons you can give it your best shot and it's just not going to work. But when you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you keep, it's one of those, is it all of your ex-husbands or is it something within yourself? You just take a pause and see, do some internal soul searching and reflection. How can you go forward and put out your best self? I don't know. All right. I'm sure there's mental illness all over this case. Yeah, we're not done. We're certainly not done. Fiddle on his opinion on marriage. I think one's enough. Any more than that, you're just a glutton for punishment. Well said, Fiddle. Free Spector. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, what am I wearing to Urban Decay. What's the name of the shade? It's one of their like deep red colors. I can't remember the exact shade, but it's definitely Urban Decay. That I remember. Oh my God, that was like my favorite part of the trial. That was my favorite part of the trial. Actually, a friend of the show who has his own channel, Eric Weinbender, he thought it'd be really funny to take my face and put it on Richard Spector from that, that all those famous court pictures of him with the big hair. And he sent it to me like, haha, this is funny. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm posting this on Instagram. So if you go way back, I did post it on my Instagram. I thought that was pretty funny. All right. Let's keep it going. All right, just making sure. The cats wanted. No, they don't. I can tell they don't. They just had dinner, so they are. Is it called Red Dandy? No. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, what's the shade? It's Urban Decay. If you post something in the comments after the show, I'll respond to it because I won't remember to do it after. But thank you. Okay. Russell, I know a good therapist that can recommend. All right. So now we get into 2002 with Robert Blake. So April 22nd, 2002, Robert was charged with 1 count of murder with special circumstances, which is an offense eligible for the death penalty. He was also charged with 2 counts of solicitation of murder and 1 count of murder conspiracy. Robert pled not guilty to all charges. Bodyguard Earl Caldwell was charged with a single count of murder conspiracy. He also pled not guilty. April 25th, 2002. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office announced they would not seek the death penalty against Robert, but prosecutors would try to seek a life sentence in prison without the possibility of parole. April 27th, 2002. Robert posted $1 million bail for his bodyguard, Earl Caldwell, to be released. That is pretty generous. That is pretty generous. So, but May 1st, 2002, a judge denied bail for Robert. So here he went ahead and paid for his bodyguard $1 million to get out for bail. Judge wouldn't even let Robert out. I found that such a twist, So just quick hello, Wolf, welcome, good to see you. How did Robert Blake meet her? I don't think I had that. Yeah, I just had that they started dating in 1999, but at the time she was still with Christian Brando. So that's all I got for that. Sorry, Kane, I don't have anything more specific for you for that. Okay, now. All right, so yes, the judge denied Robert bail. So March 13th, 2003, after being in jail for almost a year, Robert was granted bail set at $1.5 million. He would now be free while he awaited trial. March 16th, 2005, Robert was found not guilty of the murder of Bonnie Lee Begley and of one of the 2 counts of soliciting a former stuntman to commit murder, to murder Bonnie. The other count of solicitation was dropped after it was revealed that the jury was deadlocked 11-1 in favor of an acquittal. LA District Attorney Steve Cooley commented on this ruling, saying that Robert Blake was, quote, a miserable human being, end quote, and the jurors were, quote, incredibly stupid, end quote. I cannot believe that a DA would publicly make that comment. That blew my mind. To say that the jurors were incredibly stupid. I've seen, it's not uncommon where after, especially a high publicity case, both the prosecution and then the DA to make statements to the public. And whether it's, we think the jury got it wrong, or we think they, looked too much at this, or maybe didn't look enough at this, so on and so forth. But to say that they were incredibly stupid, besides this case, I've never heard something like that ever in any of the cases that I've covered. So that's just wild. So Bonnie's 3 children filed a civil suit against Robert, stating that he was responsible for their mother's death. November 18th, 2005, a jury found Robert liable for the wrongful death of his wife and ordered to pay $30 million. February 3rd, 2006, Robert filed for bankruptcy. Robert and his attorney then tried to appeal the jury verdict. February 28th, 2007, an LAPD internal affairs investigation was reopened. This was due to a complaint that the detective working the case had failed to investigate leads that persons other than Robert Blake could have been responsible for the murder of Bonnie Lee. The defense's theory of who may have been involved in the conspiracy to kill Bonnie was laid out in a defense motion filed during the criminal trial proceedings. April 26, 2008, an appeals court upheld the civil case verdict. However, it reduced Robert's penalty assessment in half. April 9th, 2010, the state of California filed a tax lien against Robert for $1,110,000. Nope, I totally got that. Nope, I was right. $1,110,878, with the LA County recorder, oh my gosh, Danielle, recorder of deeds for unpaid back taxes. And lastly, March 9th, 2023. So just very recent, Robert Blake died of heart disease. He was 89 years old. That is the case of Robert Blake. So thank you guys for sticking around for another case of Danny After Dark. And big thank you again to Richard Shipnitsky for this case recommendation. So we have a lot of you guys with completely differing opinions of this case, but now I've thrown it at you. So let's see, has anybody's thoughts changed on it, or are you guys holding down steady? Yes, he's innocent. No, yes, he's guilty. What are you guys thinking? I feel like, yeah, I have my own opinion on it, but I want to see what you guys say. Let's see. All right. Mimi says, Danny have to catch us on replay. Sergeant Pepper just tipped over the track. Good night, Mimi. Thank you for joining. To be fair, we've learned that even attorneys can be complete blithering idiots given the events of the last week. Oh, fiddle with the shade. The only thing I learned over the past week or so is don't go see the Titanic in a tin can. Oh my God, Jane. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, but I was wondering whether to talk about that on True Crime and Chill. Not going to lie. I mean, because there's going to be a lot of lawsuits filed with this, right? But yeah, that's all anybody's talking about. Like, at least I'm sure at most people's work, that's like, did you guys hear this? Did you guys hear this? Especially as the clock was ticking down with the amount of oxygen that we all felt that they had left. That was constantly talked about at my work. But yeah, oh my God. All right, Renee coming in straight to the point. Guilty. Jinx, nope, innocent. Don't pay $250. Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you do the toolbox killer yet? I have not. No, not yet. It's on. I have quite a long list, but I'm working through it. I think he paid the bodyguard to do it. Interesting. Their bodies gelatinized. They pig. Oh, you guys are still talking about, yeah, the Titan. Okay. So I think we seem pretty split on Robert Blake. So my opinion on it, after kind of going through everything, this is just my opinion, do with it what you will. I don't think he fired the shot, but I think he set up the shot to be fired. And yeah, that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, because if he did it, that would have been such a close range shooting. There would be blood splatter. I think he was smart enough to know if he was right there when when the shot was fired. He's a very identifiable person because he's such a well-known Hollywood actor. So I think he would know better than to do that. But some of you may think he had no knowledge of it, didn't do it. And yeah, I'm curious. Linda, I agree with Danny. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But again, I'm not closed off if there is, something that I missed or something that someone presents. And I've been wrong before in cases. I've been wrong before. So multiple men had the motives. Absolutely. Jinx, you are absolutely right. I think one of the other men she was grifting or grifted did it. That's certainly, that's not out of the realm of possibility, to be honest. I personally don't go with that theory, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. What is this? Multiple shooters, Jinx, including the crossing. No. Oh gosh. Says Grifter 2. It sounds cool. Did I mispronounce that? Let's see. Kane. I bet a lot of people were relieved when she died. See, that's one of those. She could have had a million enemies in the world. Does that mean she deserved that end? No. But yeah. It just, to me, oh man, again, when she was with both Christian and Robert and then telling them they each were the child's father, it's like, oh man, like shit like that. That's just wrong. That's just so wrong. But yeah, let's see. Robert says Bonnie. Okay. Bonnie was a waste of flesh. Good riddance to bad rubbish. She was nothing but a grifter, bringing misery everywhere she went. Well, Robert, I'd like you to be a little more specific in telling us how you really feel, hon, because I'm not picking that up. No, people aren't shy with this case with her about her dislike for her. And I find that very interesting. That's very interesting because she wasn't a fellow criminal in that, I think I see a lot more less sympathy, if you will, when it's someone takes out almost like an eye for an eye within the criminal justice world. Somebody takes out another criminal who is, a convicted serial killer, rapist or mass murder or something like that. I think that's more what I tend to see. For Bonnie, she might have been a whole other slew of things in life, but a criminal on that end, she wasn't. And it's very interesting because the way people feel about her, it's so intense and so people don't hold back. Like your comment, and I'm not coming down on you, hon, for that. It's interesting because I've honestly seen cases where there's someone who's committed horrific acts and they don't get the level of animosity, that's the word I'm looking for, that she gets. It's fascinating. It's very, very fascinating. I didn't do a deep dive into Bonnie Lee herself and her whole past. I mean, that would have been, you could probably just do a whole show on her. With 10 marriages, I mean, that would be, you could probably start the Bonnie Lee Big Lee discussion panel, saga discussion panel. You probably could. There's just, I can't even imagine how much past information there is on her. But again, it's fascinating how much animosity people have towards her, which is interesting, very interesting. There is the toolbox killer, and then there are two more toolbox killers. I think I butchered that, but yeah, the one I'm more looking forward to is David Parker Ray, the toolbox killer. That's the one I can't wait to cover. And I may have a collab on that one. Someone that's been asking me to cover that again and again and again and again. I may rope them into a collab. So we'll see. Who was his... Oh, God. Yeah, I can't wait to cover that one. I can't wait to cover that one. Not gonna lie. Let's see. I know I'm a little bit behind on the chat with you guys. Hi, Mark. You are right, Danny, but she had it coming. Okay. He decided his baby would be safer without Bonnie in her life, plus the money, etc. He figured out a way to do this and live with himself. Beretta wasn't a stupid Columbo doofus. The beginning of this sounded so eloquent, and then it just kind of turned. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Hey, I pronounced one right. Go figure. It wasn't proved within a shadow of a doubt. Innocent. You're not wrong on that. Okay, so we have somebody here that might be lost because I don't really recall them coming to my channel. Everyone is insane and should be medicated. Guilty. Mr. Beckham coming in strong. The real killer didn't want to risk shooting Beretta, a national treasure. Anyone there, if there is no video of you committing the crime, it seems likely that you get off. Yeah, I mean, it was recent, but 20 years ago, technology wise, like security camera footage at businesses, it has come a long way. It's come a long way. I think you're right, Wolf. I think if this happened now, just the way the world is, there's, Ring camera, there's so much security cameras everywhere. It would be captured, whether it was him, whether it was one of the bodyguards, whether it was somebody else not connected. But yeah, nowadays, especially, that people want something more sustainable, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them. But you make a good point. Hey, Bill, welcome. Good to see you. This thing just scrolls a little faster than I wanted. I don't want to skip over anybody's stuff here. Okay. You are correct. Let's see. Don't bring a camera and video your crime and then try to watch the camera. I learned that from Jodi Arias. Oh my God. Yeah, that case. Whew. For those of you who missed that, I covered that case I had Paul collab with me on that. So that was relatively recently that we did that. So go back and check that out if you missed that case. It had everything. It had murder. It had sex. It had religion. It had it all. So yeah, Jodi Arias, not smart. Yeah, What Not to Do by Jodi Arias. That would be a bestseller. Beckham, I'm not sure if you're still listening, but Shannon asks, how can I reach you if you're not on social media? If he's not here and doesn't answer that, I will. Oh no, Beckham. Okay, you're here. Shannon wants to know how she can reach out to you. So y'all work that out. All right, I've done my part. I stand by my stupid Columbo doofus reference. Oh, Troy, that's why. Oh, you are unapologetically you, and I love it. The audio of the Toy Box Killer played those victims is literally a horror movie. Chris, I have listened to that whole thing from start to finish. I can't even tell you how many times. There's so many podcasts that cover that case will play like snippets, and I get it why, because it's a while. But if you're into true crime, do yourself the favor of listening to the whole thing. What blows my mind, and I'll get into this when I cover that case, is how the tone of voice and the words he's saying completely don't align. When I hear the tone of voice from David Parker Wright, it is soft, it is gentle. It sounds like, the grandfather, the older grandfather in your neighborhood that everybody loves. It has just such a nice tone. And then you hear the words that are said, and it's like, holy shit. So I think those two intermingled is just like a complete and total mindfuck, to be honest, to the victims that they had and the victims that survived. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'll cover that case. Oh, I can't wait to cover that case with you guys. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to that case. And to me, it's one of those, if you're into true crime, that has a lot in it. Manipulation, other family members involved, like I could do a whole psychology thing just on that alone, because that alone is just fascinating, how you're able to get your wife and your daughter to partake in it. Yeah. Messed up. I learned a lot of different things from Jodi Arias. Wink. Well, you know what, James? I'm glad you took something from the collab that me and Paul did on this case. It's clearly not how to commit a murder. It's, yeah, Yeah, and there's audio on her stuff too. If you go back and listen to trial stuff on YouTube, and I'm sure those are the things you learned about, hun. Let's see. Oh, Beckham's back. All right. Yes, Russell, you did, and it was completely in context. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, your daughter and your dog. Oh my God, Chris, I know. James, so you guys are going on other cases right now, which is totally fine. Paul Bernardo played the tape of his first victim's murder to his second murder. Actually, first victim was Carla's sister. Yeah, Tammy Homolka. Yeah. First murder victim, but he was the, is it pronounced Scarborough rapist prior to that. And yeah, I did cover that on my channel too. It was definitely a two-parter, maybe a three. I think it was two, the case of Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka. So if you don't know what James is referring to, go back and check out that case. Danny, are you ever going to read Echoes and Darkness? Yes, I have not done my order yet. I have not done my Amazon order yet. I have some big stuff coming up right now. That is a little more where my focus needs to be, but I have a whole Amazon cart. I just haven't purchased any of the books online yet. Actually, I don't even think I've ordered anything off Amazon yet, to be perfectly honest. Since I told you guys my list of books, I haven't done any orders off Amazon. Wow. That's shocking. I feel like Danny is a week behind in the comments. Bill, I'm only one person here. I'm trying to do the best I can, hon. Well, I'm caught up now. So any final comments, questions on Robert Blake before we kind of wrap things up? So yeah, I know where all of you stand in your opinion on him. So yeah. And I'm curious, Richard, who's the one that recommended this case episode, once you catch up on it, by all means, Richard, please, if you're comfortable, leave a comment in the drop down box after on the video. But if you don't want to post it, send me a DM. I want to know your thoughts on it. You're the one that recommended the case. So I want to know if you think that Robert Blake was innocent or guilty. So Joanne Watson, you're doing a great job. Love your show. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to ahead and shut this down for now, but thank you everybody for joining me for this case. This was a lot of differing opinions of this, but I like that. I like the back and forth with you guys. So, and I think that's, you know what, we differ on opinion, and yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I like that. There's more engagement that way. So, and that's how we learn, right? So if you guys have any suggestions for any cases you'd like me to cover, by all means, let me know. Send me a message, send an email, write it in the comments after the video post, by all means, and I will add it to the list. I'm pretty caught up on a lot of the recommendations that I've gotten. They're either in the works or there's not enough to do it or whatever. There's a lot of times, and I'll just give this last disclaimer, I don't do unsolved cases on this. So a lot of times someone will recommend a really great one, but I'm like, oh no, it's unsolved. Those aren't the ones I do here. So, but I do check all of them. So thank you guys for that. And I will let you guys know when my True Crime and Chill will be for this week. It will either be Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure yet, but as soon as I know and kind of figure out my schedule for this weekend, I will let you guys know. So everybody have a good night and a good rest of your week. And until next time, remember, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.